Social Security is theft. Now let me explain why. I'm going to break this down to you mathematically. Why Social Security is theft. So I'm 45 years old, especially for me, because I'm not 100% certain. Heck, I'm not even 50% certain that Social Security is going to be a thing by the time I'm ready to retire at, let's say, 67 or 70. You get more if you retire 3 years later than you do at 67, but now they've moved the needle to 67. Why do they keep moving the needle? Because it's insolvent. They don't have enough coming in than what's going out. But let's break this down mathematically. And I'm going to tell you on a personal level what it is costing me and why Social Security is theft. So I started out at an early age. First gig right out of college was in the mortgage business and thrust right into six figure income. So I remember in the early days, we had this competition of who could max out their Social Security the most, because once you max it out in a year, then your paychecks were larger because you were no longer contributing to Social Security. And I honestly can't remember a year that I personally have not maxed out Social Security. I actually did this today where I logged into, you can go in and as far as retirement planning, log into your Social Security dashboard and it'll tell you how much you've contributed. And based on your current income, what your Social Security paycheck will be at the age of 67 or 70. You just set up a profile. It takes you 5 minutes to do. Anybody can do this. I will, at the age of 67, have contributed $940,788 into Social Security. All for that to spit out, once I retire, $3,936 a month. It is tax-free, which equates to $47,000 a year, a little over $47,000. It's like $47,232 a year. For some, you may say, that's great. Now, what could I have alternatively been doing with that money? Instead of being forced, and I do mean that, being forced to contribute to Social Security, I could have been investing the same dollars myself. Now, I've got a good financial planner. Not everybody has a good financial planner. Even if you don't have a financial planner, most people could get 5% a year. It's not hard to do. 5%. So I'm not talking about 6, 7, 8, 12% like Dave Ramsey talks about. I'm talking about 5%. So those same dollars invested at a 5% annual return would have come out to a little over $3.5 million. Now, if I'm still not getting better rates of return, I'm only getting 5% on my $3.5 million, that's going to equate to $175,000 a year of income versus $42,000. Again, explain to me how this is not theft. I could have been doing way better with my own money, but just like most things with the federal government, they're just disastrous and inefficient with our money. So we're being forced to pay into Social Security for them to give us the nuggets back at a much smaller income level when we could all be doing this ourselves and getting a much better retirement living wage. You know, I've identified what the problem is. I've identified what a hypothetical alternative could be, which is investing in yourself. But the problem is we're forced to do this by law. We're forced to pay into Social Security. So we can't change that until laws change. And I don't know that that's going to change until Social Security just completely implodes and they're just forced to say, okay, that didn't work. We were terrible at it. You're left to your own devices. Hopefully that day will come, believe it or not. I hope it doesn't for our older generation, because they've already paid in decades ago and they deserve this money. But what are some things that we can do to offset or mitigate this inefficiency that the government has left us with? Well, one is how you finance real estate. Again, most people think that the only way to finance real estate is with an archaic death pledge, AKA mortgage. Well, you don't have to. You know, we've got a scenario where we just showed a client where they're going to save over $400,000 in interest by switching to a simple interest line of credit versus having a mortgage for 30 years. Not to mention all the time that they've bought back with that efficiency. So that's an extra $400,000. That definitely bridges the gap a little bit. But another vehicle is Replace Your Retirement, where we show folks other vehicles that they could be putting their money in that could give them better rates of return, you know, like Replace Your Dollar, like Replace Your Employer, where we get into real estate investing. So although we're forced to put money into Social Security, with the dollars that we do have left over, we could be far more strategic with that and better planned for the future. And these are some of the vehicles that we tackle inside of Replace University. I hope you check them out. Take care. God bless.